Alright, I was holding this off a little bit, but fuck it, I'll have a go. Right, we're gonna have a look at some of last week's news articles on Bing. Just having a look here. We got a citizen. UK cost of living worsens as energy cap nearly doubles. Unlike the BBC, you get your facts right. Fawns over GB News. It's a Liz Truss. Fucking twat. UK built biomass satellite. Ooh. This is completely not politics or anything, but I want to have a look at this. UK, this is ITV News. UK built biomass satellite to be launched next year to help tackle deforestation. Ooh. The UK-built satellite will measure the Earth's biomass in a bid to protect the planet's forests and more accurately measure the carbon they hold. The European Space Agency, the ESA's biomass mission, will scan the Earth's forests every 6 months for 5 years, and people will be able to see it as it passes over the Earth. Weighing more than a ton, the biomass satellite will also feature a giant 12-meter deployable reflector which is being integrated at Airbus. The mission will essentially take a scan of the lungs of the Earth, penetrating through forest canopies and building a 3D image of them. I would be interested to see if part of this biomass includes the mycelium network. Doing so will allow scientists to assess the effects of deforestation on climate change to a greater degree, significantly reducing uncertainty around our current measures. The data will also unite the world's forests with consistent, impartial measures of all Earth's biomass, which will be available for anyone to look at. Asked what impact he would like the mission to have, Professor Sean Keegan from the University of Sheffield, who is the science lead, for science lead for biomass, said to help deforestation. That was the impact. It's to foster the political will to look after our forests better, to give people information they can't argue with that says, okay, we've got to do this better. When it comes to global climate change, it's a case of bringing up facts that there is no arguing with unless the argument is, ridiculous in nature. Then if the argument against it is ridiculous in nature, then there's no point arguing with that person because they won't listen. Or they're not likely to listen. He added, if you've got one instrument, so when you switch it on, it's giving the same stuff time and time again, and they're all the same, then it's got the consistency and impartiality that allows you to talk sensibly about the whole picture, which at the moment you can't do. See, I kind of get that because the evidence for climate change is on many different levels. And, that half the time it's not knowing what is... It's knowing what is and what isn't evidence of global climate change. See, I can tell. I could say that global climate change is a thing, and it's a fairly regular / irregular thing on planet Earth, for planet Earth. Just looking at Earth's history, there's plenty of evidence for it. Biomass is expected to be ready for launch at the end of the year, and main instrument, a specific type of radar, has been delivered to Airbus in Stevenage to be installed on site. not only sees through cloud cover but penetrates the canopy layer, which allows the actual biomass of trees to be estimated. I would be very interested to see what the results of this is. Maria Cody, head of ESA policy at the UK Space Agency, the USA, UKSA, sorry, said the really important thing is that the really important thing with this is that it's because it's satellite and you're revisiting the measurement, you can actually see if there's a degradation or a destruction of forests, and you can actually model what that impact will be and take action quite early on to correct that. Biomass will be the first satellite to carry a fully polarimetric P-band radar, which has a wavelength of around 70 centimeters, meaning it can slice through the whole forest layer. 70 centimeters. As a result, the satellite will receive a signal according to the individual elements of the forest, carrying information that can be used to work out measures such as forest biomass and forest height. This is completely radical. If you take not just two slices, if you take multiple orbits together and not too far apart in time, you can make a tomography like a CAT scan, said Professor Kagan. You are creating a 3D map of the forest. Again, I would love to see how deep this thing goes. If it manages to hit like the surface of the forest floor, I would love to see if that's a possibility. On top of providing information related to all the forests of Earth except those in North America and Northern Europe, the biomass mission will have a number of secondary objectives. The technology means it will analyse topography, the land surface of the forest, and see where water used to run below the surface of the earth, and potentially identify areas of archaeological interest. More interesting. So I know that's not politics or anything, but it could have an effect. I quite like that. What else we got here? What's this? Yahoo News. Yahoo's still going, to be honest. Health service should not pay the price of failure. Swan warns. Robin Swan, Northern Irish politician. Articles by David Young. Patients and healthcare workers must not be left to pay the price of political irresponsibility in Northern Ireland, as Stormont Minister has warned. Health Minister Robin Swan highlighted the implications of the current power sharing impasse after formally telling Stormont colleagues he will need to overspend by 400 million to deliver effective services. Mr. Swan said the lack of an agreed budget, a consequence of the Stormont crisis, is exacerbating problems within the already stretched healthcare system. A budget for 22-23 had not been agreed prior to the ministerial executive imploding in February. Now the DUP, I know people can say that Sinn Féin have done the same thing, but given the situation, the DUP know exactly what they were fucking doing. Before that, ministers had to agree in principle that any new spending plan would need to allocate increased funding to the region's crisis-hit health service. In absence of a functioning executive, the departmental funding is being distributed using emergency arrangements based on the basis of last year's budget settlement, which won't be enough. This means that the health department is not receiving the uplift it might have otherwise expected if an executive was in place. Mr. Swan's department received more than $6 billion last year's budget. However, he also secured an additional $1 billion as the year progressed as a result of in-year redistribution exercises. On Thursday, the minister said he could not even rely on receiving that extra $1 billion this year. We need a budget now. Health needs surety of a budget. I can no longer continue to run the health service on the never never, because that's basically what I'm asking officials to do at this minute in time. I'm just everything that Brexit is touched is ruining. You know, I get that there were problems with Northern Irish politics before Brexit, but it just made things worse. Like, it actually has made things worse. You got Martin Lewis coming out and saying that he doesn't know what the fuck to do anymore, and his whole job is to help people to deal with their finances, and he's run out of tools. I mean, he could start giving away some of his money. You know. What else we got here? After the bullshit that Truss said the other day, I'm just gonna nip into the Guardian a second. Macron says UK is a friend of France in spite of its leaders after Truss remarks. France and Britain will be facing serious problems if they cannot say whether or not they are friends or enemies, Emmanuel Macron has said, insisting that for Paris the UK will always be an ally no matter who's running it. That's all very well and good to say, but what if the people in charge all of a sudden decide they want to take Brittany or Normandy back? Take us back like 400 to 600, 700 years. Fucking ridiculous. The comments come after Liz Truss, the clear favourite to become Britain's next Prime Minister, told the penultimate Conservative leadership hustings on Thursday that the jury is still out on whether the French president was a friend or foe. Asked for his response, Macron, on an official visit to Algeria, said it was not good to lose your bearings too much. If he was asked the same question, he said I wouldn't hesitate for a second. France is a friend of the British people. It's just ridiculous. There's a couple of headlines. I think this was yesterday, yeah. Another one is a significant rise in the price of energy looms this winter, complicating the cost of living crisis. Nadine Zahawi has acknowledged the government needs to do more to support vulnerable families. Right. I heard some interesting information about Nadine Zahawi, and you want to go and check that out yourself. I'm gonna put it up there, up here. I think up there, or there, or there, maybe there, one or two. And it's going to be for Navarra Media, and it's something I watched yesterday, and I can't remember what the girl's name was. Hang on. No, I already watched something on that. Fuck it. It's a Welsh bird that they had on, and she was saying some very interesting things about Nadine Zahawi and his dodgy money, and the fact that he could probably help out with the UK's oil crisis right now, but obviously he wants to keep that quiet, doesn't he? I just find it quite amusing. And he says, what I'm looking at is how I can target that help for those people, not just January, but we need to make sure that we're resilient through next year. With what policies? And you're not likely to be in your role for that long, so what's the point in coming out with anything? But I myself have made a mistake in the past week or so of seeing what the Tories doing. They're not doing anything because they don't fucking care. The Tories believe in a small state. They also believe right now that they shouldn't do anything until the new Prime Minister comes in. So, yeah. Labour is at odds with Full Facts, the independent fact-checking charity, after it claimed the party's energy price cap freeze was underfunded by at least $5 billion. The party said the Full Fact got its sums wrong, saying the charity did not understand how direct debit worked. However, Full Fact was standing by its analysis on Friday, which said the party had not taken into account that many people use more energy in the winter, causing Labour to underestimate the cost of freezing bills at least by $5 billion or £340 a household. Well, that depends. Because if Labour have already taken that into account, plus there are many like myself who won't actually. I mean, if I was in my own place, I probably wouldn't actually use the gas because I don't. I use warm clothing instead. So yeah, I'm not sure on the argument between Labour and Full Fact. I've had problems with. I've heard about there being problems with Full Fact before, so you guys can let me know whether or not who's on the right on this one. Liz Truss may trigger Article 16 proceedings against the European Union within days of becoming Prime Minister as legal war with Brussels looms over the Northern Ireland Protocol. Shock. The Foreign Secretary and Tory leadership frontrunner is understood to have received fresh advice from trade and legal experts about invoking the emergency clause contained in the post-Brexit deal. Fuck's sake. And on a similar vein, the UK Tory leadership contenders are playing to their own grassroots and have no regard for the damage. They don't. They believe in a small state, a state of barely any intervention. That's what they believe in. That possible unilateral action to suspend the Northern Ireland Protocol is causing, says a Sinn Féin minister. Finance Minister Conor Murphy says triggering the Article 16 mechanism to suspend elements of the post-Brexit protocol would only further complicate the job of resolving issues with the Irish sea trading agreements. PA media reports it is a move the EU has said would breach international law. It's also a move which our own government said would break international law in a limited and specific way. Just remember that. Boris Johnson has said the next Prime Minister will plainly have to give people extra cash for their energy bills, but wealthier should not see their energy bills capped. Liz Truss, who knows what she's going to be fucking doing? I laughed at the amount of people that talked about this. I was actually expecting this. I was one of the few people, it seems, who was expecting this to happen. So yesterday, with all this news going off, right, I wet myself because people were absolutely cacking themselves, wondering why there were no government representatives on any of the TV or radio to answer questions. It's because they're fucking scared and they don't know what to do. And on some level, they're like, fuck it. Downing Street has faced widespread disbelief at the refusal of ministers to appear on TV and radio to answer questions about the increase in energy price cap. Broadcasters and opposition parties criticised TV and radio silence of ministers after it was confirmed at 7 a.m. on Friday that the price cap was increasing in line with predictions to £3,549. They had nothing. They couldn't say anything without dropping themselves in even further shit. That's why they knew no matter what. And yes, Nadeem Zahawi sent out a pre-recorded message, but it's just ridiculous. What else we got here? COVID infection in the UK are continuing to fall. Nicola Sturgeon has been accused of favouring appearances at Edinburgh Festival over resolving an ongoing industrial dispute that is causing rubbish to pile high in Scotland's major cities. Well, no, right? You've got the Edinburgh Festival and this stuff. She's been sorting this stuff. I've had to look at what Nicola Sturgeon's been doing, and she's been doing this and trying to do other stuff at the same time. She's got a busy fucking job to do. I'm not someone who's licking her asshole out, but she does have a difficult job, and she's getting shit from all quarters. She's having shit chucked at her from all quarters, so we'll have to see where things are a bit further on with that story. But yeah. Right. Seen a bit more on Labour's response to full facts. Full fact standing on its announcement by Friday, which said the party had not taken into account that people use more energy during the winter. In response, it is understood that Labour is sticking to its sums because direct debits are not meant to be above the level of the price cap, regardless of high usage in winter. Again, we'll see just how big that is. Yeah, it's quite funny. Or most of this is actually relatively funny. See, Trust pledges to immediate support to help with soaring energy bills. How? Let's have a look. It's Sky News, so let's have a look. Economic watchdog ready to provide forecast for emergency budget. Why aren't you doing it now? That's stupid. Oh. Right. Tamara Cohen from Sky News. Labour is pleased to have grabbed the headlines. A big part of the job for an opposition party is getting noticed for the right reasons, and Labour did that yesterday with the right energy freeze announcement. Telling people that Labour believe they shouldn't pay a penny more for energy over the winter than the current cap, an average of saving of £1,000 is easy to understand and provoke, suggesting it should be funded via a higher windfall tax, raising another £8 billion, builds on the measure which already polls well and will likely continue to while the oil and gas giants post record profits. See, I keep hearing and I know I've repeated this point before, but I keep hearing why you wanting to attack the rich all the time and their profits. Why is it illegal to have profits now? I reckon it should. This is okay. This is extreme. But I reckon it should be illegal to be making your own profits above a certain amount. If you're not giving a substantial amount back to the state, to your country, and just hoarding it to yourself, I reckon your profits should be taxed substantially, because you're holding money back which should be helping the rest of the country. And most of these people barely ever use that money in the end. So what's the point in having it? Yeah. So what else does he say? There are legitimate criticisms of the policy from economists. It costs $29 billion for a 6-month freeze, and the energy bills are unlikely to fall in April or indeed for most of next year. So there should be a question about whether the freeze should be continued beyond that point. Yeah, but the point that Labour have specifically made, a rock solid point, is this was fully costed for the next 6 months, because we know pretty much concretely what's going to happen for the next 6 months. Now, yes, we can say that it's more than likely that it's going to go up again next year. However, we don't know by how much, and how is Labour supposed to have? How is it any government supposed to have a policy in place to deal with something that we don't have a proper forecast for the next 9-12 months, not 3 to 6 months? These things are being done on 3 to 6 months basis. You can't expect yes, it's likely to, you're likely to want to push that further, but this is where Labour are actually thinking about the problem, rather than going, yeah, we'll do that, and that'll be great for a good couple of years until we get this sorted. That'd be fine. No, what I'm seeing here is they've actually looked at this and gone, right, well, what can we do with what we've got, and without pissing too many people off. And they've done exactly that. And now, there are always going to be problems with it, but this is something that can be improved upon. At least they're coming out with a good fucking policy. As Tamara puts, this is smart politics. The more people are talking about the specifics of the policy and how expensive it is, the more people hear about it. This has been an interesting relative silence from the Tory leadership campaigns, who are attacking each other's economics at full throttle. Supporters of both have pointed to criticisms from Paul Johnson for the Institute of Fiscal Studies, who points out that $7 billion of funding source is slated to come from lower debt interest payments because of capping bills, which lower inflation without continuing the scheme inflation and bills would rise again after that. Yes, but again, this is something that would be looked upon when it gets to January. When they got to January and they were able to look at what's likely to happen in April, then they would be able to make plans. But the sort of strident criticism you would ordinarily expect from Tory MPs to an expensive Labour policy has been largely left to right-wing think tanks, such as the Institute of Economic Affairs, which are calling the policy 70s-style price controls. Only the former Chancellor Philip Hammond, now out of politics, took to the airwaves to attack it on the grounds of it being populist. That's rich coming from this Tory government. Well, I know he's now out of politics, but that's rich coming from Tory. I'm sure everyone would like to have their energy bills frozen this winter, but not everybody needs support from the taxpayer in the same way. But where are the policies coming from the Tory party? Labour is on apologetic about the fact their policy is a wide net. So Keir Starmer is saying the energy crisis has a national emergency in which people on well above well above average national incomes, the median income was 31,400 last year, will need help. In fact, the people with larger or multiple homes would benefit the most, but energy companies don't know the incomes of their customers, and therefore drawing lines at certain income level is difficult. Yeah, you could do it, but it would make things so much more bureaucratic and would take so much more time. Ed Miliband, the shadow climate secretary, told Sky News this morning that, this was yesterday, that restricting help to those on benefits, which would be cheaper, risks excluding people like a midwife and her husband in his Doncaster constituency, both working and not claiming any benefits, who cannot afford their energy bills. It is also difficult for either Sunak or Trump to campaign to attack the policy for not being targeted, as the same criticism could be levelled at the government support scheme devised by Sunak when he was Chancellor, which Truss has pledged to keep. So that's not detailed enough either. They don't know what to do. Under that scheme announced in May, the poorest people would be granted 650 in 2 instalments this year, and all bill payers, regardless of income, a total of £400 off their bills over a 6-month period starting in October. The dividing line has been that Sunak says the government he leads will guarantee extra support with bills in the shape of handouts and a VAT cut, while Truss's campaign says they are focused on other cuts as well as more targeted help for those most in need. But that doesn't say shit. Sunak's campaign source told me his criticism of Labour's policy is they will leave a cliff edge when the 6-month freeze ends, but that the policy shows that Liz Truss's refusal to commit to any handouts is the wrong approach. Rishi has committed to further support and set out the mechanism for it. Liz's campaign is now talking about using the benefit system, but there are Tory voters or swing voters who will need to win in a general election, people who can't work any harder and will be really heavily hit. Opposition parties draw up policies to put pressure on the governing party. Both candidates' reluctance to attack a policy of £1,000 off bill funded by a higher windfall tax reflects the fact that all options will be on the table if bills rise to four fucking grand. Attack Labour's policy all you want. The problem is it was put up as a discussion point because the Tories ain't doing shit and Lib Dems are coming up with bugger all. It's really quite funny. Hang on, what's the, oh my god, tractor put. Neil Parish eyes on taking on Lib Dems as an independent. Why? Neil Parish plots his political comeback to attempt to rehabilitate reputation. Right. Don't think that's going to happen, buddy. I'm not even going to read that. I'm sorry. If you want to read it, it's on the Mail Online from yesterday. I'm not even reading that. That's just stupid. Oh, well, this is a bit more serious. Yeah, loads. The fuck. Okay. It's being a bit trippy. Yeah, I want that. Okay then. That's not what I wanted. Right. Let's have a look. That was just something weird. Alan Turing Institute urges women not to approach people if they think they are in the wrong lavatory. Right. Whoa. Where is this shit? Erg. Oh, you're kidding me. Fuck's sake. I click on a link looking for a news thing and it's not there. Your grandmother, no. Well, this is quite amusing. I can't find the thing that I was looking for. I clicked on it and it took me to MSN News and everything else but the thing I was wanting to look at. Yeah, no. This is slightly annoying. Lots of spiders apparently in this season, in this meeting season. Energy crisis may mean 2 years of pain. Minister insists 10 days not long to wait for energy bills help plan. And this is George Eustace by the looks of it. We've not been waiting 10 days, we've been waiting for over 2 fucking months, you fucking asshole. Two to appear in court after probe into right-wing extremism. Lol. I cannot find what I was after. Kind of disturbing, to be honest. George Eustace, cabinet minute. Oh my fucking god. Okay, I'm gonna do this instead. Agree. This is in the Inverness Courier. We've got George Eustace defends sewage spill plan branded cruel joke by critics. The Environment Secretary has defended the government's new plan to crack down on damaging sewage spills after critics branded the proposal a cruel joke. George Eustace said he was the first Secretary of State to really grip the issue after ministers announced water companies will be expected to invest 56 billion over 25 years to combat the. Why haven't they been doing this? Firms will face new targets to revolutionise our sewer system, including improving all overflows, releasing into or near every designated bathing water, and 75% of those discharging to high priority sites by 2035. By 2050, no storm overflows will be permitted to operate outside of unusually heavy rainfall or to cause any adverse ecological harm. Consumers will not pay any extra towards such measures until 2025. However, it is anticipated there will be a cost to follow according to the plan, with a model bill increases averaging £12 a year between 2025 and 2030. Mr. Eustace said he thought people would view this price as worth paying. The document says it is expected that annual water bills averaged over the whole period to 2050 would eventually rise by £42 a year. You shouldn't be making everyone else pay for the mistakes of governments over the past 40 years. That's not how you pay for this. How about you get the water companies to pay to do to fork out themselves to do the job they were supposed to do in the fucking first place? Asshole. This is a cruel joke. The Environment Secretary told BBC Radio 4 Today programme there are 15,000 of these storm flows, and as I said, they're a legacy of the Victorian infrastructure we had. But Margaret Thatcher and her government gave this to the private water companies in order to update them, which they promised they'd do. They haven't fucking done it! It has not been done! And their excuse for, the problems that they're having is this supposed Victorian system which they're supposed to have updated in the first place. They're going to make us fucking pay for something that they should have done them fucking selves. Bastards. Another step, I'm running out of words with this fucking government. I really am. You could argue that the government's down decades should have prioritised this, but this government, with me as Secretary of State and Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, Boris Johnson's leaving, you asshole! It's the first government to actually tackle this problem. It's bullshit! On the cost of consumers, Mr. Eustace said the reason that this decision has been put off by subsequent governments, both Labour and Conservative, down in decades, has been a big focus on keeping water bills down, and that's entirely understandable. That wasn't supposed to be the priority! Keeping water bills down would have been a good way of doing that, would have been to improve the water fucking system. Fuck's sake! I just want to grab George Eustace by the fucking ears and nut him several times until he understands that these people ought to be paying to upgrade the system themselves and not make us fucking do it. Bastard. Now off twat, the regulator pushes every water company incredibly hard to ensure that we get more for less money to drive down the income that they're able to raise for capital that they raise in the market. At the end of the day, if you want to improve the sewer infrastructure that we have so that we can reduce the number of discharges we have, significantly reduced, there's obviously a cost to that. This is ridiculous. It shouldn't be on us to pay for something that should have been done over 40 years ago. Lib Dems branded the plan a cruel joke and claimed their analysis of the proposal shows that by 2030 there will still be 325,000 sewage dumps a year on Britain's beaches as well as in lakes, rivers and chalk streams. The party's environment spokesman, former leader Tim Farron, accused the government of planning to hike water bills to pay for cleaning up the mess made by water companies, which is exactly what I just fucking said. The water companies are the ones they're pulling in loads of fucking profit. Where does that profit go? Where is the investment in this fucking Victorian infrastructure they've been saying they were putting into for the last 40 fucking years? Ugh! And this asshole has the front to go, this government is the first one to actually do something. Well, what a shock. He takes his lines off of Boris fucking Johnson. This government is the first one to bring in a national living wage. Yeah, which you took off the national minimum wage. You just changed the fucking name, you twat. Everything is a fallacy with this government. Everything is a lie. There are no solutions because they don't care. Yes, I'm fucking pissed. As someone who finds the waters of our island entirely sacred, this has really pissed me off. The Pagan Federation should be... hang on, who is it? Hang on. I just got to have a look at her. Where is she? Where are you? I am so fucking pissed. Right. Pagan Federation President Sarah Kerr. If you, as a pagan, find the waters of our country sacred, then you should be also writing to the government telling them how much shite they are pulling. Pull them up for the shite that they're pulling off. The waters are sacred to us. Get our word in on this, you fucking idiots. I'm sorry, Sarah Kerr. But please, I want to see something on the Pagan Federation news website about you actually getting involved in on this. I am disgusted. Right. I'm livid. I'm actually fucking livid. This is... They're laughing at us. They don't care about the problems that we're going through. And I don't think they ever will. Because they don't understand it. Well, this looks interesting. Pretty ugly Patel to be axed from cabinet if Dizzy Lizzy becomes Prime Minister. Dizzy Lizzy will wield the axe if she becomes Prime Minister and cull a number of big Tory names from the cabinet, including Ugly Patel, has been reported. The Tory leadership favourite will also banish Holiday Rob as the current Deputy Prime Minister, along with Health Secretary Steve Barclay, Mr. Argumentative, George Eustace, the fucking stupid liar, and Mark Spencer, the new leader of the House of Commons. Former Secretary Rishi Sunak, who has been competing with Miss Truss in a bad-tempered rivalry to replace Johnson, will not be invited into our new cabinet. What a shock! Gover's announced he was quitting frontline politics. Shock. Grant Shapps, Johnson loyalist and supporter of Mr. Sunak, faces a nervous wait to find out if he keeps his job. I want that bastard to go. Because it's his plans to do with the fucking Stonehenge tunnel. He can fuck off. Miss Truss will replace 15 ministers expected to be ditched from the front bench, with loyalists and rising stars such as Kemi Badenoch if she is able to beat our rival Mr. Sunak in the race to number 10 in September. The Home Secretary will reportedly be replaced by Suella Braverman. Even better. Oh, great. So we're going from bad to worse? Yes, I shouted at my laptop. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm fucking pissed off. Fuck's sake. Oh. Come on. Several times now I've tried to fucking get this story up, but I can't fucking get it. Fuck's sake. Come on. Okay, we'll just go from the little bit I can see here, because I can't. Every time I try to get onto the story, I get fucking redirected. Oh, hang on. Ah, there we go. Right, leveling up. For fuck's sake. Cancel. Yes, whatever. Right. Leveling up bill includes no funding to make leveling happen. Leveling up happen. Really? Although the House of Commons is not sitting over the summer, MPs have still got work to do, and some who chair select committees have been sending out letters. Clive Betts, the Labour MP who chairs the Levelling Up Committee, said that when Greg Clark replaced Michael Gove as Levelling Up Secretary in July, he asked Betts to tell him over the summer what the committee thought of the Levelling Up and Regeneration Bill. Not much seems to be the answer. Today, Betts has released the letter he sent to Clark on behalf of his committee, giving an assessment of the bill. And here is the key paragraph. It is the committee's view that the main tool to achieve levelling up will be through appropriate funding to those areas that need it most. This funding will help in making progress on the levelling up missions related to public transport and local connectivity. transforming digital connectivity, improving education outcomes, increasing the number of adults who complete high-quality skills training, and increasing healthy life expectancy. None of the provisions in the bill will directly contribute into making progress towards achieving these missions, other than setting them. There will also be no funding for levelling up across associated with the bill. Like all select committees, this one has a narrow Conservative majority. And in a statement to the journalist, Betts said, in its current form, the bill does little to reassure that levelling up will prove to be more than just a slogan, and that we will have meaningful change in local communities across the country. In key areas, it is unclear how the government intends to drive change, and they are yet to commit to the spending that is necessary to level up the country. Our inquiry has focused on the planning provisions in the bill, which can be described as loosely connected proposals to tinker with the current system, hopefully achieving some improvement. It has been difficult to construct scrutiny due to a lot of the detailed provisions having not yet been published. So I got this straight. At the beginning of the summer, the new guy, Greg Clark, who replaced Michael Gove at Levelling Up Secretary in July, right? He asked one Clive Betts what he thought and what the committee thought. I wonder if this guy had read the bill himself. Because if he did, then why would he have put it forward? Because it does literally nothing. It's just ideas. It's typical Boris Johnson. It's just ideas of something that could happen. Levelling up! Yes! Level up! What will do for funding? Fund themselves, aren't they? The market will take care of them. Just resolve it. Fucking asshole. And idiots voted the party into that had that twat as a leader into power. Idiots! Or cruel people. And no, I'm not going to apologise for those words. Because if you did vote for the Tories in the last election, and I am going to insist on repeating myself here, you are a moron or an asshole. Yeah. Essentially, I don't care. I really don't care what anyone thinks about my, if you don't like it, fuck you. You put us into this shit position. Would Corbyn have been better? I would think yes, he would have been. Because he's not a complete fucking retard, for one. He made his own gaffes, but he wouldn't have been as cold. The Labour government wouldn't have been so fucking cold and unfeeling as this pile of crap. I'm going to finish here because I'm just going to wind myself up even more. I'm getting more and more pissed off the more and more I read. So I'm going to stop. I don't know how Max and others do this without shouting like I have. I can't help it. They piss me off so much that I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I am at a point where I'm ready. Next time my local MP comes down, I'm going to the local surgery, and I'm going to lambaste him with all this fucking shit. I will tear that guy to fucking pieces, not literally, figuratively. I will tear him to pieces through his ideology, through his party's policies, because I've had enough. And I will put across the pagan point of view that the Tories don't care about us. Not that they don't care about us, actually, that they hate us just as much as they hate socialists. They despise us because, Christian background and all. Enough is enough. I'm going to come off now. This has been some Dorviska rant by shouty, and hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good day.